Here's a thought to chew on. What if your world's monsters didn't just hunt the living, but the forgetful? Meet the Grin-Wife. She looks like a woman only because that's the shape the sorrow happened to wear when it stood up and walked. Bone-white skin, a smile that stretches too far, and eyes like hollow pits. She doesn't stalk like a predator, she waits like a memory you tried to bury. This isn't your average crypt crawler. The Grin-Wife doesn't want your gold or your soul. She wants the soft parts of your face. Tongues, fingers, things tied to your name and identity. She feeds slow, like it's a ceremony. Victims show up days later, still alive, still babbling, marked with spiral bite wounds that never quite bleed. Use her when your game leans into the unspoken. She appears near grief, not greed. She marks her territory with half-buried teeth and window pane handprints, not blood trails. And she doesn't attack fresh mourners, just the ones who try to move on too fast. She's perfect for sessions about legacy, bloodlines, and the horror of what we fail to remember. Drop her into that farmhouse your players think is just flavor dressing. Let them find her nests, bones arranged with care and teeth sprouting like seeds. You've met her in whispers and warnings, now let's look closer. Behind the folklore and the fear lies something older, stranger, and far more deliberate. What follows is a formal dissection of the Grin-Wife, piece by spiraled piece. Known in hushed tones as the Grin-Wife, this sinewed whore appears to wear a woman's form only out of mockery. Her face is stretched and skeletal, with rows of needle-like teeth anchored in a smile too wide and too knowing. Straggled black hair falls across bone-white skin, and her limbs end in claws that seem more suited for burrowing into flesh than earth. When she moves, it is with a twitching, unnatural rhythm, like her body hasn't quite remembered how limbs are meant to work. Her voice is a chorus of whispers that echo from behind, never from her lips. Locals say she is the ghost of a midwife who delivered grief, but others whisper she's older than the village itself. Hunters found one scratched phrase on the bark of a hollow tree. She smiles when she hears your name. But a creature like the Grin-Wife doesn't just vanish in the dark. She lingers. And where she lingers, the land itself seems to remember her, whether it wants to or not. Let's look at the places she calls home, if home is even the right word. The Grin-Wife haunts liminal places. Abandoned fields, overgrown orchards, and mist-wrapped roads where boundaries blur. Most active during moonless nights or during the shifting hours between dusk and dawn. She marks her territory not with scent or sound, but with spirals of snapped twigs, handprints on the insides of windows, and half-buried teeth, never matching and never her own. She does not live among her kind, if any others exist. When she appears, it's always alone, yet always as if summoned. Some theorize she follows bloodlines, not trails, revisiting families across generations. She often emerges near grief-touched places, children's graves, cursed cradles, and stillborn animal dens. Despite her horror, she never attacks the freshly mourning, only those who have turned their back on sorrow too quickly. Her haunts are eerie enough, but it's what she does there that truly chills the blood. This isn't a monster that strikes fast and vanishes. No. What comes next is slow, deliberate, and deeply unsettling. Let's talk about how the Grin-Wife feeds and what she leaves behind. The Grin-Wife feeds on raw, living flesh, but never kills outright. Her hunger is ritualistic, almost reverent. Victims are often found days after vanishing, crawling and babbling through the woods, marked by deep bite wounds that spiral inward like the rings of a tree. The flesh she takes never bleeds normally. It's as if the body forgets to protest. Rather than stalking prey in the open, she lingers near grieving homes or cursed farmland, lured by sorrow like a vulture to rot. Her claws inject a numbing toxin that keeps victims compliant as she feeds slowly over multiple nights. She prefers the tongue, fingers, and soft tissue from the face, features tied to identity, perhaps as a twisted mockery of maternal nurture. Despite her grotesque diet, she doesn't leave scraps. Bones are arranged in arcane patterns or tucked carefully into nests woven from human hair and vines. She has sought to reproduce by implanting her essence into these remains. Some claim new Grin-Wives grow from the bones of her meals, whispering lullabies from underground before clawing free. Some believe she only eats those who try to forget the dead. Others think she's just hungry and terribly patient. It's one thing to read about her, it's another to survive her. The next voice belongs to someone who did, just barely. Listen closely. Don't be surprised if you catch yourself glancing over your shoulder. I was clearing out the old Godric farm, the one past hollow field where the barley never grew right. They hired me to burn what was left, haul out anything worth coin. Should have turned it down, but I needed the money. Told myself the stories were just that. Thought I was tougher than whispers and dead crops. First day, I found teeth in the flower beds. Not buried, planted, like seeds. Didn't sleep much that night. Second day, the windows fogged from the inside. Then came the handprints, small but long-fingered. Too high up to be a child. I should have left, but I stayed. The third night, I heard her. Not singing to me, but through me. Her voice came from the back of my throat, and my mouth moved like it remembered the tune. I ran blind through the field, snapped twigs slicing my legs. That's when I saw her grinning in the dark, moving like she'd never been taught how. She never chased me, just walked. I think she wanted me to look back. That's how she gets in when you look back. I got out, barely. Lost 2 fingers, not to her teeth, to the numbness. Never felt a thing, still don't. So here's the rule, plain and simple. If you find teeth in soil, don't ask who they belong to. Burn the field, salt the ashes, and never, ever look back. Thanks for spending time in the dark with us. If you're still here, you've officially survived the tale of the Grin-Wife. For now. But here's a real question. What would you leave buried to keep her away? A name? A memory? A mouthful of teeth? Drop your answer in the comments, and if you've got a monster like her lurking in your world, we want to hear about it. If this gave you ideas for your next session, homebrew, or nightmare, give it a like and hit subscribe for more folklore-fueled horror and RPG world building. Until next time, don't look back.